I'm titling today's presentation as Part Master Overview, and that is because there is a tremendous amount of information on the Part Master, and I'm a little reluctant to go into too much detail in one single demonstration because I might lose track of what I'd like to point out as being the most impressive in my point of view as far as the features and maybe the most important. So today I'm going to just, like I say, it's going to be an overview, and I want to touch on a few things. First of all, the part number. The part number is a number that you can choose in the company settings to either add manually, or you can have the system automatically assign it, and you can indicate the starting sequence for those numbers as they will be assigned. It's also something to note that this has the ability of having a part number that can be anywhere in length from 3 digits or characters to as many as 50. The default setting in the company settings is 20, but again, that can be changed if so desired. The other thing about the part master is that you can indicate the part type. PA is the one that is usually defaulted to, and that's a default in the company settings as well, which stands for part or assembly. But there are different part types preloaded into the system, which you can choose from here when you create a new part. Once that's assigned, it can't be changed. You can have a part number become deleted. You can delete it as far as being no longer active. But basically, once you assign a part number and an associated type, you cannot change that. For the purposes of this demonstration, you'll see that I've added a part type outsourcing. And I've done that because I think it's actually a better way of controlling when there is a requirement for outsourcing and doing it through the product structure. So I'll talk about it a little bit more in a few moments. So anyway, part type is a very important element, I believe, in the part master, which allows you a lot of flexibility in how you can control different types of parts within the company. With that being said, I want to jump down to the MRP function. There is a separate MRP report that runs from the purchasing module, and it'll go and run against every part in this system based on whatever certain criteria or filters that are set. But in this case, any part master also has this function, and it's going to basically give you a summary up here of what you have on hand in WIP, if any, on demand, and so forth. And bottom line is it nets it all out and tells you whether there's anything available or if there's actually negative because you don't have enough on order. In this case, we're at exactly 0 because we have actually equal supply to demand. And you can see here what's on order, the work order, and down here you can see what's on demand through the sales order. And then if you've had any invoices, shippers in the last 12 months, and associated invoices. So that's all available here in the part master when you run the MRP. So leaving MRP, I want to jump down to this area here in the part master. And what this allows you to do is add manufacturers and or vendors for any given part in the system. You'll notice we have our own company, Apex Manufacturing, listed here. And this feature is something that you may or may not want to use, but to the extent your company has an internal job number or part number that is different than the customer part number, and you have a direct cross-reference, this allows you to input that number here. And then it can be tracked through the system and use your own internal number so that it's easier for employees to identify. So that's a really nice feature. Now, if it happens to be a purchase part, I know my son's business, he works in electromechanical type of work, and there's a lot of electronics involved. And it's quite common in that area where there are multiple manufacturers that basically produce the same part. And so if they have different part numbers by manufacturer, that can all be listed here. And it's very easy then to cross-reference and find it if need be. Okay, so if I go to the BOM again for this parent, and we see the tree view here, which has the parent included, and you can see the customer part number here, and again, how the internal job number will appear here and in many other places of the system where it's applicable, such as the work order and so forth. But I want to take a look now at this outsourced part. I mentioned different part type outsourcing, which is something that we're purchasing, obviously. And so if you look down here on this part master, we have 2 vendors listed that we can buy this product from or this outsourcing from. And we have Acme Finishing at $13.50 established price, and it actually has lead time listed here as well. And then if you go down to the next one, is where we purchased the first 13 we did on this purchase order for the work order I demonstrated in my first presentation of the system. And here we have XYZ Finishing Corp at $15 with a lead time of 3 days. So it gives you the option to post as many different vendors as might be applicable to any given part. And if there's established pricing, to go ahead and post that along with individual vendor lead time. If you look at the area up here on the Part Master, which is the inventory section, it shows lead time, but only for make. And to be honest, when I had first encountered that, I was kind of confused as to why they just said make. But then when you realize how they are able to treat or have the system set up to have the vendors with their individual lead times listed down here, it makes quite a bit of sense. So again, very nice, I think, very nice feature in the way it's structured. And when you run MRP actually through purchasing, you'll see when we get to that report, which will be a separate demonstration, when you see there's a requirement for something that hasn't been satisfied, and you transfer that to what's called a worksheet in the purchasing area, it will give you the option, it'll show you these different vendors and their established pricing so that you can choose from them as you establish and make that purchase order. So I think that pretty much concludes this overview of the Part Master, and I will be following up with an additional demonstration, which I'm calling Part Master Detail. And there's quite a bit more to cover here in the way of fields that I have yet to touch on. So I will be doing that shortly, and thanks for watching.